When a man feels like he's found the one, it inspires him to be a better man. Not because she technically has to make him be a better man, but because his love for her, his desire for her makes him want to be better for her. Because he wants to be able to pour into her and provide for her in a way that shows her how much she means to him. So how does this man even know that she's the one? And I know that's a question that a lot of women ask. So before I break that down, I need to explain some important things and answer some important questions. I typically leave these things to the very end, but I decided let me just start off addressing this right now. So the first question before we get into how he knows she's the one is how long does it take a man to know she's the one? So the answer to that question is not long at all. Now, I know there are a lot of people who want to tell you it takes a long time and, men don't always know and love takes time and things like that, right? But when you actually sit down and speak to men who have felt like they found the one, and it's very important that we understand that when we say the one, it's very different from what we're seeing play out in many relationships. And I'll break that down in a few seconds or in a few minutes. But when he feels like she's it, she's the soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, right? It doesn't take him long. I can't put a specific time frame. What I can tell you is at the very least, in a matter of days or weeks, the man can at least see there is serious potential here, all right? Granted, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's always situations where maybe he wasn't fully aware or paying attention, or maybe didn't have a chance to maybe spend time with a woman in a way that allowed him to see the kind of connection they had. But if they are intentionally dating and getting to know each other, then no, it just doesn't. And it's important for you as a woman to understand this, because I see so many ladies allowing situations to drag out much longer than they should because you're being told this whole recognizing you're the one, recognizing he wants to marry you, all these things takes a long time. No. And I would argue that for a lot of men, they knew early on, if not in some cases instantaneously, the process that it took from that moment to maybe months later or years later was just going through the formalities. It wasn't a matter of him trying to figure out if this is the one for me. It was just him saying, okay, well, let's make sure we got all our ducks in a row. Let's make sure maybe finances are in order. He's setting the table for things to go well. Or he's just making sure I'm not wrong with what I'm feeling. So it's almost like, man, I really think she's the one, but let me just take my time, make sure that I'm not jumping the gun, being infatuated, things like that. Now, to give you some examples of why I say it's quick and in many cases instantaneous, I've seen multiple scenarios where men who are known players, all right, men who say, man, I'm not even looking for a relationship, meet a woman, and day one, come back to me and say, man, I think I found her. I think she's it. Again, can they say, I know for a fact? No. And I think the ability for the man to know for a fact also depends on his level of awareness. And when I say level of awareness, one with self. If the man doesn't know himself, it may take him longer to recognize who aligns with him and who he should be with, okay? If a man is not in tune spiritually, that can delay the process of him recognizing who is for him and who isn't for him. But if he has matured, if he has evolved, if he has gotten more in tune with self, then it becomes a lot easier, which is why I would argue that as a man ages and has been through more life, his ability to recognize she's the one is a lot easier or a lot quicker because he's seen so much of the wrong. It's not hard to tell when someone separates themselves from the pack. It slaps you like a ton of bricks. And as a woman, you may have or will experience the same thing. Where when it's that guy who's just that guy, it just hits different, okay? So bottom line, we won't keep dragging this point on, but the point is, it doesn't take him long. It is quick, all right? And you got to understand you don't need to be giving men forever to figure out what they want to do. Now, the second thing I need you to know before I break down how he knows she's the one, how men know she's the one, is that as quickly as I'm telling you it can happen or they can recognize she's the one, is as quickly that can change to other things. So what I mean by that is this. I tell women all the time, you can go from the woman of his dreams to just a woman he wants to sleep with like that. Plain and simple. It could be something that was done, something that was said, information that was found out. Now, the reason why I say information that was found out, here's a story that I feel like the need to talk about. And this, depending on the environments that you're in, this may or may not apply. So I knew of a story where this was in college and this guy met this girl. And again, in the matter of days, he's like, oh my gosh, she's the one, right? And so he's trying to take his time and, show her that he's serious and he's trying to build something with her. Well, I want to say a month into them dating and getting to know each other, he hears information from one of his acquaintances, I think is a better label to give, that a few of his boys had laid down with her. Okay? And let me say this. In fairness, we don't know to this day if those dudes were telling the truth or not. All right? I will say, based on some information that I end up being privy to later on, I do think it was accurate information they were giving them. Either way, him becoming aware of this completely changed his perception of her. All right? And so now, for him, it was like, I can't view her as the woman that I want to be with anymore. I don't put her on that quote unquote pedestal anymore. But now, and I'm not saying this is healthy or okay, I'm going to still try to sleep with her. In his head, the other dudes got it, so why not me? All right. Again, not saying it's right, just showing you how it can change very quickly. All right. And that's why I have to say to women who are in environments where people can be telling your business and can get around, I'm gonna mention examples like small cities or towns, college, school, things of that nature. All right. Workplaces. Okay. These are environments where it's very easy that if you're dealing with this one or that one, information can circulate. And now if you try to deal with someone you actually like, and he's actually viewing you as, oh my gosh, this could be it. And then he hears what happens, it could change everything. All right. Again, not saying whether that's the way it should be or not. I'm telling you, this is what happens. So it's important that you do understand that, yes, it can change very fast. And the reason why, let me say this, before I tell you the reason why it's important for you to understand that, as though it can change very fast from woman of his dreams to another woman that he just wants to sleep with, it is very less likely for you to go from woman he just wants to sleep with to woman of his dreams. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it's an extremely rare case. So I've seen some women, I'll give you another story. This might sound really crazy, but this is an honest to God true story. I received a message in my DM many years ago, and a woman said, I'm dating this guy, and I'm one of 6. All right? So he has 6 girls, 1 for each day of the week. I know there's 7 days of the week. I'll explain the 7th day in a second. All right? So for 6 of those 6 days of the week, he has a rotation of women. She's in the rotation, but she claims that I'm the hottest of the 6, and I want to know what I can do sexually. This is a real question. What I can do in the bedroom to make him pick me. Okay? And I said, listen, he's not going to pick you. He doesn't have a certain level of respect for you. That's why he even has you in a rotation of the 6. And I said, if he had more respect for you, he'd be handling this different. And then she came back and she said, that's interesting that you said that because there is a 7th girl. And the seventh girl, he doesn't have sex with. The seventh girl, he doesn't even bring around the other six. He isolates that one. Why? Because that's the one. That's the one that he views like, and whether you want to say, well, if she was really the one to him, he wouldn't be dealing with the other six. That's a whole different discussion right now. But his perception was, this is the woman I put on the pedestal. This is the woman I would want to be with. These other six are just here to have fun. And I had to explain to her, like, listen, there you go. That's your evidence right there. The chance that he will upgrade you from rotational player to being the star is simply not likely. You know what I'm saying? So I mentioned that part because I see a lot of women who attempt to stay in a man's life, play girlfriend or be whatever he wants in the bedroom, thinking that somehow I'm going to get that upgrade to the top position. And no, walk away from that. Now, going back to the fact that you can go quickly from top of the line down to just another woman he wants to sleep with, pushed into the rotation like in that example, I mentioned that because I see a lot of women who, let's say you meet a guy and things are going great initially, right? Let's say for the first 2 months, he is amazing. And then after month 2, he completely falls off in his effort, his actions, so on and so forth. And then I hear a lot of women get angry and frustrated, like, oh, these men are just playing games. He was never serious. And I'm not saying this next part to make you think it's okay what he did. It's to explain to you that sometimes the fall off is not because he was playing games from day one. It's because his perception of you and the situation changed. All right. And again, I don't say that to you for you to beat yourself up about it or feel bad about it. I say it to you because my concern is if you start to think that every man is just playing games, you don't take no one serious. And now what also happens is when a man is showing you effort and the next guy is serious, you have in the back of your head that, oh, any day now he's going to be on that foolishness. Any day now he's going to stop. And you don't realize how in expecting the next pin to drop, you're projecting a negative outcome, which contributes to creating a negative outcome. So in order to have a more positive approach and to have a better chance of nurturing the situation and seeing it flourish, I need you to understand that, yes, sometimes the man is starting off genuine, does view you as this could be it, but something along the way changes his perception. All right? And sometimes, I have to say this, sometimes you as a woman experience that same shift on your end in the process, but you chose not to let go. You chose, well, I'm already deep in, I'm going to keep this thing going. All right? Or, you know what? I was hoping for better. I'm going to keep holding on to hope. And he simply fell off. But again, what happens with a lot of men is he may fall off, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop dealing with you. So again, just bringing some clarity. But let's move on to the next point, and then I'm going to break down how men know she's the one. So now the third thing I want to explain in this whole dynamic is for you to understand the difference between the one and the woman he chose to be with. All right? Let me say it one more time. The one versus the woman he chose to be with. So one of my concerns is that a lot of people, women, see these relationships, see these men who marry these women or commit to these women, whatever, right? And then, quote unquote, switch up on them, quote unquote, betray them, quote unquote, violate, whatever the case may be. And start to have this perception of, oh, you see, even when he thinks you're the one, it don't mean nothing. He's still going to do this nonsense. He's still going to hurt you. He's still going to let you down, all this stuff. Now, in general, human beings will make mistakes. But what I'm talking about here is the bigger stuff, right? And what I want women to understand, because when you start to view it that way, again, you become jaded of love, jaded of even when there's supposed to be a connection. You become fearful even in situations where it's supposed to be something real. Because what you did not understand was she was never the one and for him, and he was never the one for her. She was just the woman he chose to be with. And the difference in that is this. A man can choose to be with a woman, but not be truly in love with that woman, not truly have a connection with that woman. And when that is not there, yes, the chances of things going left are extremely high for various reasons. I have a previous video about when women do the same thing, choosing a man that they're not truly in love with, but he's the man she chooses to be with. And because those underlying foundational ingredients are not there, it is a setup for disaster every single time. And I need you to understand the difference so that you realize, no, real love, real connection, two people who truly feel like they're the one for each other can be amazing. But the majority of relationships are involving individuals who are choosing to be with each other and neglecting those main ingredients that I encourage you to embrace in your situations. So don't let those situations fool you. All right? Because when it's something real, and again, yes, I have to just say one more time, a man will marry a woman even when he has stronger feelings for another woman. And it happens vice versa, but we're not going to worry about what y'all do at the moment. We're going to focus on the men. Either way, yes, it happens. It happens. And it skews the perception of what's really going on in relationships and creating a more jaded view that I want to try to eliminate by bringing you more clarity on the situation. Oh, and real quick, because let me mention just a couple reasons why some men might choose a woman even though he's not in love with a woman. Reasons can include, well, she's been here so long. You know what? I trust she's not going anywhere, so I'm going to choose her. It could be she's been here so long and loyal to me, I owe it to her. It could be my family and friends love her. She's a good girl. Or let me just be with her. It could be, you know what? She's the best option outside of the woman I truly have feelings for. And though he may not process it like that exactly, that's essentially what is happening. Okay? Or yes, it could be a matter of this is safe. She's a great woman who provides so many things. And because I'm not in love with her, it actually makes it easier because I don't have to worry about being hurt. And let me see, is there any other ones that come to mind right now? And then babies. Babies is a huge one. You know what I'm saying? Where people just like, all right, well, let me try to make the best out of this or do right by my kids. Or even there are some men who came from broken households and they swore off ever creating one, so that now that they got a woman pregnant, they're like, okay, I have to marry her because I can't keep the cycle going, not realizing you're just making things worse anyway. So those are some examples. We won't dive into like the depths of those things, but want to put that out there so you are aware of why some of these situations happen. So hey, real quick before I continue, if you want to receive the best piece of relationship advice I've ever gotten, be sure to click the link in the comment section below and I'll get it to you right away. You're gonna love it. So again, click the link in the comment section. So now that I got that out the way, let me break down for you how men know she's the one. All right. Now, of course, there may be some variations with men, but of all the men that I've spoken to, counseled, because yes, men do come to coaching. You may not hear about it or see them in the comments as much, but trust and believe they're coming, they're listening. I get approached by men all the time in the streets who tell me they watched my videos. Anyways, I digress. Let's get to the main topic at hand. How men know she's the one. Number one, he stops caring about other women. So, I've seen the biggest players meet a woman and want to turn in their player card. It's like, I'm retired. Or how my boys used to say, yo, retire my jersey, put it in the Raptors, I'm done. I'm leaving the game. I know what I want. I found her. I'm good. All right? So when I say stop caring about other women, let me be a little bit more specific or detailed. It doesn't mean he stops being attracted to other women. All right? He's still going to find women, he may still find women beautiful that he sees. That doesn't necessarily go away because he found the one. But his care to get her attention, his desire to pursue that, his concern with what this woman thinks, whatever, if he's been dealing with certain women, he doesn't care enough. He cares more about this woman that he now believes can be the one than what they have to say about him. And if he has to let them go, he's prepared to do that because he ain't going to mess up what he got with her for these women that he never, and I say this respectfully, I'm trying to say it respectfully, he didn't hold them in high regard to begin with. Okay? And so when that man starts to notice, like, and I'll say this, I do think that if he's a man who already wasn't into, being out there talking to women, it may not hit him as hard as it does the guy who is out there. The guy who is out there, when the one smacks him in the face, it hits hard because to go from this pursuit of various women to just, I just want her right now. That's like, that's like, I want to say a rude awakening, but it's just like a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Rude awakening sounds bad for some reason to me, but it's a wake-up call. And yeah, it's very obvious when he experiences that. And so that automatically makes him feel like, dang, I think this is it. I think this is it. When I can give up the rest for this, that means a lot. So yeah, when he stops caring about other women. All right, so now the second thing or reason or way that men know that she's the one is just based on how she makes him feel. Now, I said it like this, and I'm going to get a little bit more detail in some of the other further points, but I say it like this because there are going to be men who cannot even articulate what it is. It's just, man, it's just something about her. It's just the way I feel around her. And he may not understand exactly how to break that down, but essentially it boils down to she makes him feel good. She makes him feel excited. She makes him feel inspired. You know what I'm saying? It just draws him in. You know what I'm saying? And again, there's some other detailed things I'll mention a little bit later, but just that general feeling. And again, I think women sometimes underestimate, and I think as a woman, no, you've probably experienced it too, where you could meet 10 great guys, right? And they have great qualities and you could actually enjoy them. You might be able to get along with them, but they don't make you feel, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't hit you in that way. And then you meet this one guy, and sometimes the guy who makes you feel this way, he may not even have all the qualities the other guys had. Like, it may not even make complete sense. You might be able to, on paper, say, but this guy has this, and this, but with this guy, I just feel something I don't feel anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So you're not always able to fit it into the box that you thought it would fit into. And again, I explain that so you can relate to how it happens to men as well. How sometimes it doesn't even fit the box he wanted. Now, what's hitting my spirit, I feel the need to mention, because an issue that a lot of women have is sometimes you get with a guy, and just work with me here. Let's say the guy loves big breasts, okay? He's a breast man. And he meets you, and like I said, sometimes the one doesn't fit the box that we had in our head. So let's just say you ain't a big-breasted woman, all right? You got maybe decent size, maybe you barely got any. Doesn't matter. It's all beautiful. I'm just saying it doesn't match what he typically goes after, right? Now, initially, you may not be aware of this difference, this variation in what he likes versus what you have. But again, he still believes or feels or is certain you are the one. And what I can tell you is when we feel that we've met the one, we are much more flexible with our desires and requirements. We're much more willing to give a pass on certain things, all right? So where the women that he would just maybe sleep with had to have big breasts, he's willing to let you slide because there's more to you than just that for him, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because then you get with this man and you start noticing that he keeps looking at big-breasted women. And you're like, well, if that's what you like, why are you with me? And it makes you feel some kind of way. It makes you feel like you're inadequate. And I want you to understand, no, it's not you're inadequate. It doesn't mean that he doesn't like you. It doesn't mean that, he doesn't appreciate you and your body as it is. It's just that, yes, sometimes he may like this thing, but because he loves you, because you're the one to him, he doesn't need you to have that. All right? Now, let me just say, there's going to be some things that people don't want to go without regardless, right? But again, there's certain things that we may have preferences for that we realize are not that important when we feel like we've met the one. So I simply lay that out because, again, I see so many women going through this battle of insecurity or questioning what's really going on here. If he keeps looking at that kind of woman when I look like this, right? And it's like, no, if he embraced you as you are, and this man is pouring into you and being the man that you need, don't question his attraction to you just because just because he had liked. I'm not trying to give him a free pass to just be looking everywhere. I'm just trying to help bring clarity to that disconnect that sometimes happens, all right? Because there's a greater love that exists between you and that man. All right, so let's move along to number 3. And speaking of big breasts, this one's about his attraction to you, okay? Now, again, piggybacking off what I was just talking about, please understand that there's looks and then there's attraction. Looks is when we have desires for very specific things. But sometimes attraction, we can find ourselves attracted to someone who does not fit that exact criteria, but the attraction is still extremely strong, all right? And I do believe that for men, typically, that strong attraction plays a huge role in him viewing or believing I found the one, all right? Again, even though she may not look exactly how he would have perfectly drawn it up, he is so attracted to this woman that to him it's like, this is it. All right. Now, of course, should attraction be the only thing that a man goes off of? Absolutely not. I will make the argument, though, that there are men who, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it, less evolved and get so blinded by attraction that they overlook all that's missing and will still think she could be the one. Like, I've literally seen men say, man, I think she's it, but she treats you like crap. Like, the relationship is pure, it's a mess. And yet his infatuation through attraction blinds him from that reality. So that's how powerful it can be. But outside of those types of situations, I do think that ultimately, yes, a man is going to evaluate like because if he does not feel strongly attracted to her, he is less likely to believe she is the one. Now, something else just hit my spirit. And whenever I say things, I say it with love. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm trying to make y'all feel some kind of way. But I have to give y'all honest to God truth, right? An example of how strong the attraction is a factor in seeing a woman as the one. And please just listen, okay? I had a client and she's a plus size woman, okay? And I forgot how, right now I'm drawing a blank how we got to the situation, but the bottom line of the story was she had a really good friend. I think I made a comment to her about getting to a healthier weight or getting to a place where she feels more confident. And then her revealing to me that the friend said to her, he was like, man, if you were just 20 pounds less, I would want to make things happen with you. Now, listen, I know some of you are disgusted by that, all right? And think it's horrible that the 20 pounds would be the difference maker or be disgusted by that. He even said that to her, okay? Let's not dwell on that point for right now. I brought up that example to simply show you how that was the one thing that was separating his willingness to embrace her as, I think that at the very least, if not the woman that I would want to be with. Okay? Because he said, if 20 pounds lighter, you would be perfect. And that's how important attraction is for so many men. When we're talking about viewing a woman as the one or someone that they're going to actually marry and spend their life with. All right, so now we're on to number 4. And this one is one of the details of the how she makes him feel point. And the 4th way that he knows she's the one or feels she's the one is because she brings him peace. Now, I've literally have sat down with men who, when I asked them, how did you know or what made you feel like this was the woman? They literally said, whenever I'm around her, I just feel this peace come over me. All right? So I do think that, one, I view that from a very spiritual level. I think that there is something that happens spiritually when we meet that person that we just feel this breath of fresh air, this peace, this feeling that we don't feel with everybody else. But then I would go even further from a non-spiritual perspective and say, but it's also the woman who actually brings him peace, who doesn't bring him drama, who's not stressing him out. That makes that man more drawn to that kind of woman. And of course, when other things are in place as well, but that peace factor is huge, okay? Now, I know some of y'all are saying, well, why we gotta be his peace? Can't he be our peace too? Of course, y'all should be each other's peace, but I'm just explaining how the man's going to evaluate the situation, all right? So definitely her ability to bring peace, but his ability to feel peace in her presence is a huge factor in him viewing her as, this is the one for me. All right, now we're on to number 5, and the 5th way that a man knows she's the one is when he enjoys being around her outside of sex, all right? And not just enjoys it, wants to be around her. You know, this is kind of the example of like when guys are willing to forego hanging out with their friends to be with their girl, that's because he believes like this is the one. I'm happy here. I'm good here. And those sex and sexual relation is important to most men, if not all, but I would say the majority. A lot of men understand you can't pick or believe someone's the one just because, like, just based off of sex. It goes further than that. And when he can enjoy you outside of that, that's what makes him look at you different. Because again, for a lot of men, the women that they're dealing with, as bad as they may sound to y'all, are just women they enjoy sexually, are just women they enjoy. Maybe there's other benefits she provides. For some dudes, he's getting bills paid or money put in his pocket. That's a whole other story. But the point is, he doesn't have a joy of being with her outside of all that other stuff. And when that exists, that creates the perception of, this is it. I just want to be in her presence. And again, it goes also back to that. I feel peace in her presence. We have fun. It's lighthearted. It's enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to be anywhere else but here? And that definitely is a huge way that a man knows. All right. And now the 6th sign on how men know she's the one is when he feels like he can trust her. All right. So loyalty is huge to men. And, you know, one of the big knocks on women that some men have, a lot of men have, is that you can't trust them, that they'll leave you for the next one in a heartbeat, that, you know, they'll turn on you. And I know for a lot of women, to y'all, that might be like, that's ridiculous. The problem ain't us, it's men. Right? But a lot of men, and let me tell you, I got stories for days. One that comes to mind, I remember meeting a guy who was like a month away from graduating medical school. And in fairness, I don't know all the details, but I got it. This was a man who was in love, was pouring into this woman, and she just up and left him. And he was devastated. All right. And so though we always talk about how women value security and men value respect, and that is true, I do think when men view a woman as the one, is because there's a level of security there as well for him. In the fact that she's just not going to up and leave me. She's not going to kick me when I'm down. I can open up to her and she's not going to throw it back in my face. These types of things that make him feel safe in her presence and safe with her makes him feel like, this is the woman. This is the woman I want to be with, and this is the woman who's truly for me. And now number 7, last but not least, is when he feels loved and desired. All right. Now, I want to make clear, this one alone cannot make you the one for him. So don't go thinking that as long as I love and desire a man, he will see me as the one. No. And a lot of this stuff, they are pieces that got to come together. It's not just do one of these things and he'll see. No. All right. And I'm explaining to you how he comes to the conclusion. But yes, it's when he feels like this woman wants me like I want her. Now, the argument can be made. Some dudes look at a woman as the one even when she's not giving him this. Because there's a lot of other stuff that he's seeing, and what he finds himself doing is wanting to pull that love out of her, wanting to receive it so bad and thinking, if I keep pouring into her, if I keep showing her how serious I am, then she will release that love onto me, okay? But a lot of times that is coming from an unhealthy place. A lot of times this sets up a dynamic of infatuation, of chasing, of a one-sided relationship that isn't built on the proper foundation of connection. But when it feels like a two-way thing, and that this woman is into me and desires me, which is why I'm always encouraging y'all to be open and honest about your desire when you're dating a man, so that he knows, he wants to feel that too from you, the same way you want to feel it for him. And yes, that aspect is going to pour into it, because I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. When they surveyed a bunch of men after leaving getting their marriage license, and they asked them, why did you marry this woman? One of the most popular answers they got was because she liked me. And that simply translates to because she made me feel desired and loved. And because men don't typically feel that. Again, a lot of y'all may think that's ridiculous. Of course no. A lot of men are in situations where they're the pursuer, they're the pourer, they're doing this, that, but they're not really getting it from the woman the way that they need it. And when they do, that is a game changer. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Wouldn't it be so nice if you could see a guy that you want, be able to verify if he actually is a good guy, look at his relationship facts, maybe, so to speak, right? And